Hey guys, here's another running shoe that I want you to look at. This is gonna be the third shoe that I'm gonna feature in this channel. This shoe amazed me. Not that it wowed me, but I'm just amazed by the performance that I got from this shoe versus the amount that I paid for. So here it is, the Li-Ning Yueying 4 Pro. Anyway, a little bit of backstory here. So I was looking for a good partner to my Reebok Float Ride Energy 5. I've been using it for quite a while now. It's a good shoe. I love using it on my easy runs. It has a soft midsole, but because it's low to the ground and stiffer due to the X-frame or shank, it has a responsive or firmer feel. But that's what I do like about the shoe. Anyway, because it's not as cushioned, I just couldn't take it more than 15 or 16 kilometers. I've been looking for something with the same type of midsole but more cushioned than the Float Ride. So I was looking at other shoes in their lineup, their new Zig models, but they weren't on sale. It took quite a while since I wasn't in dire need. Then I stumbled upon the third version of this shoe, the Li-Ning Yueying Pro, and I thought it could be a good cheap alternative as a long run shoe partner to my Float Ride. I was ready to buy it, then I saw this, the fourth version was already available. I couldn't find much marketing materials in English about this shoe. I just had to translate some product images. Bear with me if I don't have much info. And we're just gonna keep the specs portion of this video very short. One of the images, when translated, says that they were able to achieve a 5% weight reduction from the outsole. I guess it's because they did some cutouts here versus the third version, which has full coverage. Another image, when translated, says that it has a 40mm stack height in the heel. Unfortunately, it doesn't say anything about the stack height of the forefoot. It did say though that the forefoot is, I think that was 13 or 15 millimeters wide. The heel, if I remember correctly, says that it's wider by 4 millimeters from the previous version. I don't know if it's based on a US size 8 or size 9, but Chinese brands tend to use the US size 8 as a reference. And as for reference, they didn't state in the images what the weight of the shoe is. But on my size 10, it's at 282 grams. I'm just relaying the translation from those images. I don't know anything else about the specs, so let's just jump ahead. First, let's talk about the upper. The upper is very breathable. It's thin and it's actually kind of a stiff material, but because it's very thin, it doesn't feel rigid. It's flexible enough. But something I found annoying was when it folds or flexes in this area. On every step, there's like a pop. It doesn't cause any discomfort though, unlike my other running shoes where it pushes the material here on my toes. It's just annoying when I keep noticing it during my runs. The tongue is great. It's not thick and it's very soft with just the right amount of padding. This is how I like tongues in my running shoes. All the way down to the laces is just a thin mesh, making it very breathable. The gusseted tongue isn't much here. It's only a thin strap. Unlike other shoes that cover the whole midfoot area. Again, this makes it a very breathable shoe. The laces here aren't the stretchy kind, but it's not going to be an issue if you don't over tighten them. There's a hole for a runner's knot. I didn't find the need to do that in this shoe. Plus, the laces are very short, so I don't think you can do a runner's knot in this. There's enough padding in the heel for some comfort, and the heel counter is stiff and hard. There's a garter here that's for probably grabbing the shoe or another way of putting them on. I find this unnecessary, but then again, it's not doing any harm to the shoe. The heel collar here is actually rough, like an abrasive kind of rough. I don't know if this could ruin socks, but it holds my heel very well. Definitely no heel slipping here. Maybe from the lack of micro slipping or rubbing, might not do anything to my socks, but because of this material though, I'm just worried that it might fray the fibers of my socks. It's not a top heavy shoe. Don't expect this to feel plush or super comfy. It's just the right amount of comfort. It feels light and very airy, which you'll appreciate during your long runs. The fit in this one is like a half size large. It's very accommodating, but feels like it's a half size large. I did take out the insoles and line up my foot in that, but it just has the same size as with my other shoes. I guess it's just very roomy. You could probably get away by going half a size down. Especially if you have narrow feet, I really encourage you to go half a size down in this one. Aside from the fit, let's head over to the outsole. The outsole grip is very good. It grips very well on the road. Tried it on wet weather and it did fine. You'll appreciate it if you strike heavily in this area. It's thicker than the rest of the outsole. While the rest of the outsole doesn't look quite as thick, from the looks of it, I think it should last quite a while. Before going over to the ride and feel or how I think about the shoe, let's talk a bit about the midsole. First thing that you'll see when looking at the midsole is this nylon shank here, or what they call a crowbar lock. The shoe overall has a wide base. It looks hefty or clunky, but it's not clunky at all. Aside from the forefoot, the midfoot as well is wider. This should reduce the risk of rolling. And as for the heel, it's not overly wide, but it's wide enough to distribute forces evenly. The upper layer of the midsole has the same texture as my Float Ride Energy 5, probably the same type of TPU used here. It's really soft, not as soft as premium super foams, but definitely soft. You can feel it's airy and not very dense, making the bottom layer here the heaviest part of the shoe. If you've had some experience with Reebok Float Ride's Energy Foam, you'll be familiar with its softness. The difference is that the Reebok is lower to the ground and you immediately get that response and energy return from the ground, giving you that firmer feel. Now with the Li-Ning Yueying 4 Pro, it is higher, so you have more of this soft midsole, making this a softer, springier feel. You don't have that ground feel as you feel this firm lower layer first. It's still soft, it's just firmer than the top layer. When you land, you feel the initial sink or squish and it gives back right away after the initial compression. The bottom layer actually provides a stable platform for the soft top, preventing it from compressing too much. What it also does and what I love about it is it acts as a transitional surface. It improves the energy return and rather than lose that energy from instability or excessive squishing. I really love the feel of this shoe. This dual layer combination of the midsole really gives the perfect balance of softness with good energy return. You don't sink in too much. It doesn't feel draining on every stride, unlike other mushy soft foams where a lot of that energy is lost and it feels draining on every step. This, the Yueying 4 Pro, is very soft, but it's not mushy. It really has a very good bounce. After a few runs, it was around 30 kilometers, I noticed that the softness has settled in, which gave this a much more grounded ride. The springiness is still there, and it just feels like the springiness mellowed down, giving it a much more smoother and consistent cushioned ride. I went through the later part of a run a bit faster, around 5:15 minutes per kilometer to around 6:20-ish minutes per kilometer. It's easy pace for me, but bordering on moderate. It just felt easier on this shoe. There's not much energy loss and each stride was less taxing. Maybe it's the energy efficiency from this support or stability. What it's mediocre at though is doing intervals. It did them well. You can tell that it's really just not the best for outright speed. I didn't feel light on my feet on those very fast sessions. It's not the lightest out there, but for trainers it's light enough and rolling in this is just seamless. While it looks heavily rockered, it actually isn't quite aggressive. Now it's a mix of me maybe getting tired as you're pushing yourself on those fast workouts, but overall I was pleased with how the Yueying 4 Pro performed. Easy runs the day after those grueling intervals were just great, no matter how tired my legs were. The best I've felt in this shoe is a tempo run and a long run. The tempo run was a short half marathon pace session. The long run was a mix of moderate and easy paces. It just had this seamless, smooth roll and has the perfect balance between responsiveness and cushioning. It just made me maintain my steady paces without any excessive strain. Also, it does pick up the pace very well despite not really great for outright speed. While it's not a very comfy upper, it is light and airy, and I really appreciated it on my long run. It was only at 16 kilometers though, but I am planning to use this for much longer distances soon. I don't think this will bottom out, and I'm confident this will be very cushioned enough. I mean, looking at it, I think it's more than enough. Aside from long runs, I see myself using these for the majority of my easy runs as well. Some tempo runs if I'm feeling it, but this should cover your base runs. It does well on fast workouts, might lack some propulsion. It's not a plated shoe, but it is springy, and again, the energy return here is just great. It's a high stack shoe, but it's not sloppy at all, despite how hefty it looks. If you have the budget, then just get this one. I got it for around 3,300 pesos or $55. If you can get it at that price like how I got mine, then go ahead. If your budget is way below this one, then maybe you can try the Anta C202 HP. If you're not after a aggressive or carbon plated shoe, maybe you can get the third version of this. It was heavily on sale, but I'm not sure if it's still available right now. If it is and it's very cheap, then go ahead and get it. There's also a non-pro version of this shoe, which looks to be an EVA blend. I wouldn't bother. I'd rather you go ahead and get this one. If that one is crazy cheap though, then maybe it is worth the try. But this is a very good daily trainer. It's actually very versatile. In conclusion, I actually enjoy the ride and feel of this shoe. It reminded me of the New Balance Propel V4. They don't have the same ride, but what I'm saying is the use case for this would be the same. This is a much more fun shoe. I'm amazed by how much I paid versus what I got. It's not dull on easy runs. The foam is what you're really buying here. I could care less about the upper and some minor stuff about this shoe, but the ride is totally worth it. Again, I only paid 3,300 pesos or $55 for this shoe. There are many shoes out there that may be a bit better, but you're gonna have to pay more for those. This already sits close in performance and quality, maybe a bit better than some expensive shoes. The price gap is just huge compared to those. Anyway, ending the video, the keywords here are soft, energy return, cushioned, and value. I don't have anything else to say about this shoe, so this is where I'll end it. Keep running, stay fit, and be kind.